Offensive line, Zach Carpenter comes in from Indiana, brings a wealth of experience, just adds to all the experience that was already there. 121 career starts is what I'm seeing there out of the offensive line. That was a huge strength and pretty much the turnaround position on this team over the last couple of years. So can these guys be just as good up front this year?
Yeah, I think, the Zach Carpenter was one of those names that I was very intrigued to see how quickly the relationship between him and Cam Ward get, here with fall camp. Because as we saw last year, even though the season didn't end up how we wanted, one position group where it just seemed like every single week we didn't have to worry about, and he was a true leader on and off the football field, was Matt Lee. And he is going to be missed very dearly at this program. I wish we could have a bunch of Matt Lees on these offensive line, but of course we don't. We do have a lot of great talent, though. Don't get no doubt about that, and we'll be talking about those guys. But with Zach Carpenter, he's a guy that's already played at a big time program, like you mentioned. So this should be a good transition being into the ACC. I want to see how he adapts to a crazy loud environment. First game of the year, 3:30 in the Swamp. It's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. It's going to be sweaty. And as we know, that ball, the protection between the center and the quarterback is going to be very key. You want to make sure you limit those turnovers, especially playing at a hostile environment like the Swamp up here in Gainesville. And knowing, the past of the turnover margin of Cam Ward, that's going to be one thing that he's going to want to hone in on and make sure he limits throughout this football year. And I think it's going to be very key, the relationship between Zach Carpenter and Cam. But from everything I've heard, Zach Carpenter has been as advertised and is doing a very good job communication-wise and really just being that guy that they're hoping he can be this year. But, as we know with Maribel and Cristobal, they always have other plans and backup plans. And, of course, they love cross-training. So when I'm talking about that, some of these names that I'm saying and what has been happening behind the scenes in practice lately, there's been a lot of movement going around. This isn't just a football team that is already set in stone on their starting 5 offensive line, and they're just using those 5 guys every single snap with everything single practice. That's not how it is, right? What they're doing right now is they're switching guys around at all times. You may see Francis Manoa at center at times. You may see Jalen Rivers at center at times. So they are trying different things. But from left to right now, I think what you're seeing set in stone as of right now is Jalen Rivers, left tackle. Left guard is probably going to be Samson Okinola right now. It's a battle between him and McCoy, but I like what I'm hearing about Pancake right now. He's making a lot of good strides. So I like Pancake at left guard, Zach Carpenter at center, Inez Cooper at right guard, and Francis at right tackle. But there is going to be a lot of movement and transitions throughout the year if needed. As we know, injuries happen, and when one guy goes down, you need to already have a backup plan in place and make sure that all these guys know what they're doing in different spots and positions at all times. And that's the reason for this cross-training and why it works so well under Maribel and Cristobal. They've been doing an excellent job at that. So that, guys like Markel Bell may see some snaps later on in the year. Someone like McCoy and others, even a guy like Tommy Kinsler is starting to progress a little bit more. And Ryan Rodriguez, I think he gets a lot of knock. But he's a guy that, if Zach Carpenter ever goes down and you don't want to move someone in the inside, I think Ryan Rodriguez is a guy that wants to kind of showcase that he belongs in a Miami Hurricane uniform. And I think he's doing everything on and off the football field. Maybe he might get his time one day. Who knows? But at the end of the day, Miami has about 8 quality guys at the offensive line right now that they have no problem putting at any position. And that's, kudos to Mario, Mirabal, and the rest of the staff, Ed Pata and others, that it's just been night and day transition from about 3 years ago.